The spaceship, a silver sliver against the black canvas of space, pierced Earth's atmosphere, its sleek form cutting through the void with precision and purpose. Inside, Xylar, a warrior from the planet Xylos, gripped the arms of her command chair, her knuckles white with tension. The weight of her mission bore down on her shoulders, her heart pounded, a drumbeat of anticipation and dread echoing in her ears. Each beat was a reminder of the stakes, the lives hanging in the balance. She had trained her entire life for this mission to obliterate Earth. Every drill, every simulation had led to this moment. Xylos, a world teetering on the brink of ecological collapse, saw Earth as a threat, its resources ripe for the taking. The survival of her people depended on her success. Xylar, hardened by years of rigorous training, had embraced her role as the instrument of Earth's destruction. She had become a weapon, honed and deadly. Her finger hovered over the launch button, a single point of contact separating Earth from annihilation. The power to end a world rested in her hand. But as her ship sliced through the atmosphere, a tremor of doubt shook her resolve. The certainty she had felt began to waver. The blue and green sphere below, so vibrant and alive, sparked an unfamiliar feeling in her chest. It was a world teeming with life, so different from her own. Was it fear, or something else entirely? The emotions swirling within her were foreign, confusing. She pushed the feeling down, burying it under layers of duty and resolve. She couldn't afford to falter now. Earth had to be destroyed. It was the only way. For Xylos to survive, she had to complete her mission, no matter the cost. Captain James Jimmy Walker squinted at the object hurtling through the sky. It was unlike anything he'd ever seen, a streak of silver defying the laws of physics. He barked orders into his headset, scrambling jets to intercept the unidentified flying object. The object, a sleek silver craft, hovered in the air, defying gravity with impossible grace. A hatch hissed open, and a figure emerged, silhouetted against the blinding light. The figure dropped to the ground, landing with an almost feline grace. Jimmy approached cautiously, his hand hovering near his holstered weapon. The figure stepped into the light, and Jimmy's breath caught in his throat. It was a woman, but not like any he had ever seen. Her skin shimmered with an otherworldly glow, her eyes large and luminous like pools of liquid gold. She was beautiful, captivating, and utterly terrifying. Xylar found herself disarmed, literally and figuratively. Her advanced weaponry, once a symbol of her strength and superiority, was now useless in the hands of her captors. The soldiers, their faces a mixture of awe and apprehension, had taken her captive. They had never seen anything like her before, and their curiosity was palpable. Their weapons, primitive projectile devices, seemed almost comical compared to her own advanced weaponry. Yet, in this moment, it was their simplicity that had overpowered her. But she was outnumbered, her ship damaged, and her mission hanging by a thread. The once mighty vessel that had carried her across galaxies now lay in ruins, a testament to her failure. She was led to a secure facility, a labyrinth of concrete and steel. The cold, unyielding walls seemed to close in on her, a stark reminder of her captivity. Her cell, Spartan and cold, was a stark contrast to the warmth of her ship. The minimalistic design offered no comfort, no solace from the reality of her situation. She paced the confines of her cell, her mind racing. Thoughts of escape, of her mission, and of her home planet swirled in her head, each one more urgent than the last. She had to find a way to contact Xylos, to warn them of her capture and complete her mission. Every second that passed was a second closer to failure, and she couldn't afford that. But as the hours turned into days, a strange thing happened. The urgency of her mission began to blur, replaced by a growing curiosity about her captors and their world. She found herself drawn to the guard, a young man with kind eyes and a disarming smile. His presence was a small comfort in the otherwise harsh environment. He would bring her food, his touch lingering on hers for a fraction of a second too long. It was a fleeting connection, but it was enough to make her feel less alone. He would tell her stories of his world, stories filled with laughter, love, and a fierce loyalty to this planet she was supposed to destroy. These stories painted a picture of a world worth saving, a world she was beginning to understand and, against all odds, care for. Jimmy felt a connection to the alien woman, a pull he couldn't explain. He found himself volunteering for guard duty, eager for another glimpse of her. He learned her name was Xylar, and despite the language barrier, they found ways to communicate. He showed her pictures of his family, his childhood home, the beauty of his world. He saw a flicker of something in her eyes when he spoke of Earth. A flicker of doubt that gave him a sliver of hope. He knew she was dangerous, a threat to everything he held dear. But he also saw a vulnerability beneath her warrior exterior, a loneliness that mirrored his own. He knew it was reckless, foolish even, but he found himself sharing his own stories, his dreams, his fears. He told her about his late wife, his childhood dog, the warmth of a summer night. He shared his world with her, hoping that she in turn might share hers with him. Section 5. Seeds of Doubt. Xylar listened to Jimmy's stories, her heart a battlefield of conflicting emotions. His words painted a picture of Earth so different from the one she had been taught. This wasn't a planet of barbarians and destroyers, but a world of beauty, compassion, and love. She found herself looking forward to his visits, to the sound of his voice, to the way his eyes crinkled when he smiled. His stories chipped away at the wall around her heart, the wall she had erected to protect herself from the truth. The weight of her mission pressed down on her, heavier than ever. Could she really destroy a world capable of such beauty, such love? Could she betray the trust this man, this kind, gentle man had placed in her? The seeds of doubt, planted by Jimmy's stories, began to take root in her soul. Section 6. A Glimmer of Hope. The tension between Jimmy and Xylar crackled in the air, a palpable force that both drew them together and threatened to tear them apart. He knew he had to convince her, to make her see Earth not as a threat but as a world worth saving. One day he brought her a single wildflower, a splash of color against the sterile gray of her cell. He told her about the field where he found it, a riot of colors and scents, a testament to the resilience of life. "This," he said, his voice rough with emotion, "this is Earth. This is what you're fighting to destroy." Xylar stared at the flower, its delicate petals trembling in her hand. In that single, fragile bloom, she saw the reflection of her own conflicted heart. A glimmer of hope, fragile yet persistent, flickered within her. Section 7. Revelation. The weight of her secret, the impending doom she carried within her, became unbearable. She had to tell Jimmy the truth, to confess her mission, her role in the planned destruction of his world. One night, as he sat beside her cell, his presence a comfort she couldn't resist, she confessed everything. She told him about Xylos, its dying ecosystem, its desperate plan to claim Earth's resources. She told him about her training, her conditioning, her unwavering belief in her mission. She told him about the device, hidden on her ship, capable of unleashing unimaginable destruction. She laid her heart bare, revealing the fear, the doubt, the burgeoning love that threatened to consume her. She waited for his judgment, his anger, his inevitable rejection. Section 8. Sacrifice. Jimmy listened, his heart pounding in his chest, as Xylar revealed the truth. He felt a surge of anger, betrayal, fear. But as he looked at her, her face etched with remorse, her eyes filled with tears, he saw not a ruthless warrior, but a woman caught between duty and love. He saw a reflection of his own struggles, his own battles with duty and conscience. He knew he couldn't judge her, not when he understood the impossible choice she faced. He reached for her hand, his touch a lifeline in the storm of her emotions. "We'll find another way," he whispered, his voice hoarse with emotion. "There has to be another way." And in that moment, united by their love for each other and their shared humanity, they vowed to find a way to save both their worlds. Section 9. A New Dawn. In a universe teetering on the brink of chaos, a new chapter was about to unfold. The path ahead was fraught with danger, a tightrope walk between hope and despair. Every step they took was a gamble, a dance with the unknown. They knew they had to act fast, to disarm the device before it was too late. The clock was ticking, each second a reminder of the stakes at hand. Together they devised a plan, a desperate gamble to avert disaster and forge a new path for both their peoples. Their minds worked in unison, blending human ingenuity with alien wisdom. The journey was perilous, a race against time and a test of their love. They moved swiftly, their hearts pounding with the weight of their mission. They faced opposition, doubt, and the threat of discovery at every turn. Shadows loomed large, and every corner held a new challenge. But through it all, their bond held strong, fueled by a shared purpose and a love that transcended planets and species. Their connection was their anchor, their guiding star. In the end, they succeeded. The device was deactivated and the immediate threat was neutralized. Their relief was palpable, a moment of triumph in the midst of turmoil. The device was disabled, the threat to Earth averted. They had bought their world precious time, a chance to rebuild and recover. The future, though uncertain, held the promise of peace and cooperation. They looked towards the horizon, their hearts filled with cautious optimism. As they stood together, watching the sunrise paint the sky in hues of hope and renewal, they knew their journey had just begun. The dawn of a new era was upon them, one filled with endless possibilities. The alien girl, once an instrument of destruction, had found love and redemption in the arms of an American soldier, and in doing so, had saved not only Earth, but perhaps even her own world. Their love was a beacon, a testament to the power of unity and the possibility of a brighter future.